I can't say I'm going to try not to say the F word. And isn't the word, so we're going to try to be better. Lance, so let me this one up.
Welcome to Daily Freddo's first something. Okay, let's call it a Daily Freddo podcast. I don't want to commit to any format yet, but that means that from now on in my channel, you will get longer format videos covering more topics, containing much more of my humble and not so humble opinions. And this is the very first of those videos. What you can expect here are topics covering viral stories, those from US and from Europe, usually the stuff we like to discuss here in my channel, the woke stuff. But not only. For example, today we are going to talk about Strickland, of course. I have made episodes about him in the past. I follow his career. I find him extremely interesting because he is not the usual type of celebrity we get today. We will discuss his recent interview that caused headlines like UFC champion goes on deranged expletive-filled rant when asked about gay people. Go F yourself. Next, we will dive into the story of Gypsy Rose Blanchard. I had few requests from you guys to give my opinion on the matter. I wanted to take some time before speaking out, to be honest. It's such a weird story and it gets weirder every day. It's always America that makes the most unexpected people famous, mostly for all the wrong reasons. And I do go back and forth when it comes to Gypsy Rose. My opinion changes every day. So as you see, we have a lot to talk about. Let's dive in. Why would you even try to cancel Strickland? Didn't people learn that it's impossible? That he's not scared to say what he thinks and he's definitely not susceptible to some specifically targeted questions of liberal Canadian journalists. He's a UFC champion known for his straight to the point, no sugarcoating opinions. At the most recent interview at UFC 297 Strickland versus Duplessis, one of those liberal journalists started asking him about LGBTQ community, about trans rights, and having heard Sean's answers, that journalist started tweeting lies about him. I'll read all these tweets in a minute for you. Not only do I hate when men cry about how offended they are on Twitter, I hate when people spin the narrative to try to literally cancel someone. I am linking the original full interview in the description as well, but we will focus today on the most controversial part. Because there were some good questions about his career, other fighters, things actually related to the sport he is competing in. Well, liberals, of course, are not as interested in Sean's career as they are interested in his support of gay community. Let's watch the first clip.
I did want to ask, you're in Toronto. Welcome. Glad to hear it. It's been great.
Are you Canadian?
Of course I am.
Are you part of the opposition? Are you?
I don't know how to phrase that.
You got like, yeah.
Well, I did want to ask.
Did you vote for Trudeau?
I'm not going to say.
And let me tell you something right now. If a man says he's not going to say, like if you ask him, did you vote for Biden? He's like, well, I'm not going to say. That's none of your business. He voted for Biden.
Sean,
hey,
Sean, I'm glad you've had great experiences.
So this is what I'm talking about, you guys. The enemy of Canada.
Sure.
All right.
That's what it's got to be. It's got to be.
This is so true. There is another moment when he asked the right-wing journalist the same question, and we immediately hear the answer. I'm not liberal. I did not vote for Trudeau. So why do liberals have so much problem admitting they voted for LGBT Justin? Because it's embarrassing, and they know it. They know deep down that they effed up, but it's too late now. And they have to keep up this common delusion they started. People generally don't like to admit they were wrong, especially in politics. They don't like to take a step back, review, put some logic into work once in a while. That's how we get the radicals. They are either far right or far left, extreme viewpoints, blind following. But let's listen to the question that the liberal journalist asked, actually.
You've got a pretty supportive gay and lesbian community in this city. I did want to ask you about something you wrote a couple of years ago. You said, if I had a gay son, I would think I'd...
Oh, look, another. I'm saying to you, the swamp, you guys, the swamp.
You become a champion, you become a star, and someone says...
Let me ask you something. Are you gay?
Have you had the chance to interact with a more diverse...
Let me know, are you gay?
Can I get an answer?
Well, no, I'm asking, this is a part of, are you a gay man?
I'm an ally of the community.
Okay. If you had a son and he was like, you had a son, he was gay, you'd be like, oh man, you don't want a grandkid?
No problem with it.
Oh man, well, dude, you're a weak man, dude. You're part of the problem. You elected Justin Trudeau. Like, when he sees the bank accounts, like you're just pathetic. And the fact that you have no backbone and has he shut down your country and seized bank accounts? You ask me some stupid shit like that? Go fuck yourself. Move the on, man.
I want to remind you, this is an interview before a big fight. There are so many things that can be asked about Sean's championship, goal, career, the fight, his training, the opponent. So many things actually related to the reason they are all gathered there. No, this offended snowflake decides it's best to ask Strickland, who again is a current champion, about what he thinks about gay and lesbian community and about comments he made in the past. Because he offended someone, he hurt someone's feelings. And I agree, you're not a man. You don't have a backbone if you are offended by anything and everything. If someone simply stating an opinion about something can totally consume you and your thoughts, ally of the community, guys. Another stupid term that they like to throw around. Because if you disagree with anything, for example, underage gender transitions, you are labeled as not an ally. Sometimes you're called a homophobe, a transphobe. To add some context for those who don't know, a user online asked Sean in the past, "Sean, would you rather have a gay son or a thought daughter?" Strickland replied, "If I had a gay son, I would think I failed as a man to create such weakness. If I had a whore for a daughter, I'd think she just wanted to be like her dad, LOL." One, he is obviously making a joke there. Two, he has nothing against gay people, which, by the way, he stated many times in various interviews, but those don't get nearly as much traction. He is against promiscuity. He believes in traditional gender roles. He's a fighter, a champion. If he had a son, he would probably train him and hope he would follow his footsteps. And if not, he would want to raise him to be a strong man. Sean would hope to have grandchildren in the future. We live in times where we can design our babies. We can choose the gender. We can choose what color of eyes they will have, what hair color. You can choose everything. You can literally dissect their genetics and just get rid of what you don't like and then make your baby. But the preference of not wanting to have a gay child is just off the table. It's offensive. It's ridiculous. Obviously, Strickland got a lot of hate for this comment from people who probably never heard him speak before and don't understand his sense of humor. And this dumb Canadian liberal media guy decides it's the best moment to bring it back. That is the best topic to be discussed right now. But there is more, listen.
That doesn't really answer the question, but I did want to ask also things you said about the trans community. You said this past October when they announced the Bud Light sponsorship that you'd go so hard on Bud Light in your next fight, they'll have to accept me or denounce me when they know what, and will know what they stand for. Are you
This guy's like, nah, this Canadian's not that Canadian.
Are you still going to use your fight time to kind of speak on that?
Here's the thing about Bud Light. 10 years ago, to be trans was a mental illness. And now all of a sudden, people like you have weaseled your way into the world. You are an infection. You are the definition of weakness. Everything that is wrong with the world is because of you. And the best thing is the world's not buying it. The world's not buying your bullshit you're peddling. The world is not saying, you know what, you're right, chicks have dicks. The world's not saying that. The world's saying, no, there are two genders. I don't want my kids being taught about, who they could in school. I don't want my kids being taught about, their sexual preference. Like, dude, this guy is the enemy. You want to look at the enemy to our world? It's that motherfucker right there.
Let me point out, Sean called the journalists, people who cultivate this sick agenda, are the enemy, are the infection. He did not call gay or trans people that. He said people like the liberal journalists who continuously find reasons to be offended, who glorify the LGBTQ community to the point that now it affects our kids' education, those people are the infection. They are turning our world to shit. I have spoken many times on my channel about the education level of our kids going down. The results in general knowledge, math, science show that our society is getting dumber. Education gets more expensive but less effective. And now the most important issue they are tackling is making sure kids as young as 4 know that they can have sex with anybody. And if you don't want your kids learning about consent, which is insane because the only thing kids need to know about consent is that they can't give any, okay? No is the word that they should learn. So if you don't want your kids' innocence destroyed, you are called a bigot, homophobe, transphobe. How about we use our brains here? How about we stop tiptoeing around liberals in fear of being cancelled or called a name? Because that's what Sean Strickland is doing. He is not afraid to state his opinion. That's why he has such a huge fan base. It's refreshing to have someone unapologetic like that on the right side. Someone who is not politically correct, who is not even polite or proper. He's just who he is.
Asking these stupid questions. Sorry, I told the UFC I was being nicer. Lance, am I still good with this? Did I cross any lines? A little. What the? I didn't say the F word. You just brought this guy in here to piss me off.
You just did, but just to follow up, I mean, Rick.
Did I say it?
You just did.
No, I didn't say it.
Right there, you did.
Different F word, different word. Yeah. I'm trying to be good, man. I'm trying to be good. I like the gays. Everything. I've never. You guys think I've ever shit on a gay man or shit on a gay woman? I don't. I like the gays. It's freedom. We still have it in America. We'll teach you about it. You guys don't have freedom of speech. I'm surprised what I'm saying is probably gonna get. I'm probably gonna get the Canadian government to arrest me. So I don't give a fuck who you fuck. I don't give a fuck what you want to do in life. But don't tell kids about it. Don't teach that shit in school. Don't push your agenda. Don't try to brainwash people. Don't try to go past parents. Don't try to go up past all this shit and brainwash people, you cuck.
See? He has nothing against consenting adults doing what they do. No problem at all. That's what he often highlights in his interviews, anytime the subject comes up. So the journalist, the one starring in this juicy conversation, tweeted afterwards. MMA fighter Sean Strickland called a journalist who asked about his own awful comments about having a gay son an infection, and way beyond. Strickland should be suspended from UFC 297. His language went way beyond anything remotely acceptable, and we see a picture of Strickland with a little note. Sean Strickland makes some of the most anti-gay comments by an athlete. Now that we've all listened to this confrontation, I'm pointing it out again. He did not refer to his imaginary gay son as infection. He didn't even say that about the LGBTQ community. But this a-hole is spinning the story to be the victim. And what way beyond did he say? When he said he respects and likes gay people and has no problem with adults doing what they want, and he's calling for UFC to ban him, someone tweeted a response. He really said suspended from UFC 297. MF wants a Pennington Bueno Silva main event. And this Sid Ziegler, I think that's how you pronounce this journalist's name, he tweeted back. Yes, Sean Strickland deserves to be suspended from UFC 297. What he said about rejecting a gay son, given the rate of LGBTQ homelessness, isn't forgivable. The hell. I'm a huge free speech advocate, and if I were Dana White and UFC, I'd bar Strickland from competing. Unacceptable. Someone says, I wouldn't want a gay son, and somehow this spikes up the rate of homelessness amongst members of LGBTQ community. Again, Sean never said he would reject a gay son. He wouldn't hope to have a gay son. That's a different thing. So again, the journalist spins the story to fit his own narrative. It's disgusting, and maybe he is the one who should be banned. And if you look at him, if you look at his profile picture, it's hard to take whatever he says seriously. With his douchebag hat, glasses with thick pink frames, and a pink tank top pretending to be a DJ on a MacBook. That's the man who tells the other man how to be a real man, how to behave. I bet he's been called worse names than what Strickland said, like ally. Well, Twitter or X users saw through Sid Ziegler's BS. Here are some comments. Do you secretly hate the gay community? That's the only reason any sane person would make a tweet like this. It literally reads like anti-LGBTQ plus bait designed to bring ridicule to the community. You need to stop. This is what I'm talking about. The more they push this narrative of being victims, the more they ridicule the community itself. Here is a message to legit LGBT community. Your allies are actually harming you. Those most vocal, those steering shit online, those fighting to have sexual education reform in schools, those are the ones that ridicule you the most and make the world essentially turn against you. Have that in mind, fix it. Another comment, a different view than my own, ban him. You're not a free speech advocate. I disagree with some of his previous statements, but I'm also not soft enough to let someone's opinions hurt me. Grow up. Exactly. When did it become not okay to disagree with someone or to have a different opinion? You did your best. I suggest leaving the warriors alone if you can't take the heat and feel lucky. It was just words he threw back at you. Yep, he tried to challenge Strickland, bringing back some old comments. It completely backfired because the fans of the fighter know the way he speaks. I wish Sid Ziegler stopped there. I really do, because more pathetic stuff happened, like this tweet. I love that Strickland fans, disguising themselves as straight guys, have come after me in an attempt to make sure everyone knows how straight they are despite their straight worship of another man's body. And they are so straight. And the picture says, there is a little note on the picture in a tweet, Sean Strickland and followers share anti-gay messages as ESPN is silent. The solid argument, oh, you're secretly gay. So what if they were gay? He's tweeting as if it was an insult. You're gay yourself, Mr. Ally says. He tweeted multiple times at Strickland fans, calling them anti-gay or homophobic. How pathetic, and he's supposed to be a respectable journalist in Canada. Strickland, on the other hand, tweeted this: hate speech isn't real. I didn't know I was fighting in North Korea. Remember, people, if you disagree with a liberal, if you hurt LGBTQ members' feelings, you supposedly deserve to be cancelled. You should end your career. You should be shamed. But not to worry, Sean Strickland is going strong. People love him for his realness, for how down to earth he is, even though he's a world champion. And of course, every interview with him is interesting, to say the least, because the man is not afraid to speak. He's not afraid to offend. And like I said, it's refreshing and what makes him have such a huge following. And speaking of huge fan base, there is a brand new celebrity in the USA. Actually, I think we can say that she's a celebrity of a global status, since we in Europe heard about her and are following what's happening. I'm speaking, of course, about Gypsy Rose Blanchard. America has a history of glorifying those that maybe shouldn't be glorified as much. I wanted to wait a bit before covering this topic because I knew that Gypsy Rose's story is just going to get crazier as the time passes. And I wasn't wrong. This is one of the most talked about women in the world right now. But is it for all the right reasons? Spoiler alert, no. Gypsy just got out of prison from serving 8 years for conspiring in unaliving of her mother. As soon as she got out of prison, she immediately became an influencer, a celebrity. How wouldn't she? All through her stay in prison, she had media interviews, documentaries filmed, Hulu created a TV series based on her life. Her story was covered time and time again. Most of you probably know the whole story of Gypsy Rose Blanchard by now, but on an off chance that there are still people not familiar with it, here is a quick summary done by Ray William Johnson. He made this long story fit in a couple-minute TikTok, so let's listen to it.
So this woman, her name's Gypsy Rose, and Gypsy is in big trouble because she and her boyfriend just murdered someone and now they're on the run from the law. See, Gypsy has always been very sick. Leukemia, muscular dystrophy, all kinds of stuff. She has to use a wheelchair and a feeding tube, and she takes all kinds of medication, and she's only 8. It sucks. Now, Gypsy's best friend is actually her mother, Dee Dee. And Gypsy and Dee Dee are like best friends. They more or less have a perfect relationship. But one day, Gypsy discovers something crazy. She doesn't actually need a wheelchair. She can stand up and walk. And she's confused. She spent most of her life in that chair. So she starts to test the limits of her body, and she figures out other things. Like she can also eat solid food and doesn't need a feeding tube. Despite all that, Dee Dee still insists that Gypsy is sick, and she won't let her get out of the chair to walk, and she won't let her tell anyone that she can walk. And she keeps making her take all her medication. So this goes on for years, and Gypsy gets frustrated, and eventually she grows up a little and becomes a teenager. And like all teenagers,
By the way, when she discovered that she can eat, she every night went to the fridge, drank Coke and ate all the sweets, and she ruined her teeth, so ultimately she had to have all her teeth pulled out. Because her mom told the doctor that she probably has acid reflux, and that led to more procedures.
she wants a little bit of her own freedom. So Gypsy starts pushing back on Dee Dee a little, talking back, getting a little attitude, and their perfect relationship starts to crack. Here's the thing though, Gypsy is very scared of Dee Dee, because Dee Dee has been so controlling her whole life. Like Dee Dee would get mad at Gypsy sometimes, and she would punish her by like not feeding her for a couple of days. And as Gypsy grows up, little by little, she starts to realize she's not really sick. She's never been really sick. sick. Her mother Dee Dee was making it all up. Munchausen by proxy. And Gypsy is fed up, and at one point she tries to run away, and Dee Dee catches her and punishes her by chaining her to the bed, and it's really bad. And all this control and abuse, it continues until Gypsy's in her early 20s. And one night, after Dee Dee goes to bed, Gypsy gets on the internet, and she secretly creates a profile on a Christian dating site. And there she meets this guy, Nick. And Nick and Gypsy, they are really into each other, and eventually they start dating. Online. Here's the thing about Nick, though. He's kind of a weird guy.
Godejohn also has a criminal past. In 2013, he was arrested after investigators say he was watching pornography and fondling himself in a McDonald's restaurant for 9 hours.
But Gypsy likes him, so whatever. And they date for like 2.5 years, but just online though, because he lives in another state. In fact, they'd only met in real life like once. Now Gypsy loves Nick, and at this point she hates Dee Dee. And after years of all this building up, she wants to escape Dee Dee's control.
A moment for a facepalm. I'm giving you a moment, all of you. Let's take a breath.
So she and Nick come up with a plan. So Nick, he takes a bus and he travels from Wisconsin to Missouri where Gypsy lives. And he checks into a nearby motel, and Gypsy waits and she lets him know when Dee Dee's asleep. And Nick comes over to her house and Gypsy meets him at the door. And she gives him gloves and duct tape and a knife. Then Gypsy waits in her bedroom while Nick sneaks up on Dee Dee. And while she's there asleep, he unalives her with that knife. Then they take a bus all the way back to Wisconsin where Nick's parents live. Now Gypsy does hate her mom, but she doesn't want her body to just rot there forever in their house, so she logs onto their joint Facebook account and
I want to add here that there was an interview with Gypsy and she mentioned that she opened the door fully naked. I don't know why, and I don't know why I'm bringing it up right now, but I feel like it's important to what I'm going to say about it later.
She posts something pretty shocking. That bitch is dead. Allegedly so that people will go check on her mom and find the body. And it works. People see the post, they report it to the police, and police go to their house and they find Dee Dee. Police then connect that shocking Facebook post to an IP address in Wisconsin. The IP address led to Nick's parents' house. So of course police go there and they arrest both of them. Here's her mugshot, here's his. Oh, but it's not over. So Gypsy...
By the way, this Facebook post is still up till today. You can still go on the profile and see that Facebook post.
Pleads guilty to second-degree murder. She's sentenced to 10 years in prison, while Nick gets life. But because Gypsy's story is so compelling, while she's in prison, a bunch of documentaries get made about her, and her story blows up massively. And almost 9 years later, she gets out, and she's like some kind of celebrity now. She's all over the news, she's doing tons of interviews, she was just on The View, she just announced a new book and a new docuseries, she starts an Instagram account and immediately gets like 8 million followers, and then she starts a TikTok account and immediately gets like 9 million followers. Who do I need to kill to get that many new followers in such a short period of time? Anyway, so it looks like after all that, Gypsy's now gonna be an influencer.
Hey everybody, so we are in Times Square.
Okay, and most of all this happened in Missouri, so shout out to Missouri.
Well, now you know. You're one of us. There are so many details to this story that of course we won't have time to cover today. It's a case that people have been following for years, and there seemed to be something new about it every day. Yes, so Gypsy was a victim of her mother's ongoing abuse. She had to pretend she was sick, that she couldn't walk, so Dee Dee could cash in those welfare and various charity checks. It's horrific what this girl had to go through and how many invasive procedures she had for essentially no reason. She had all her teeth pulled out, like I said, all her teeth, man. And Dee Dee was shaving her head as well, so just to make her look even sicker. So it was a truly terrible life. But going back to the night where the deed was done, Gypsy and Nick went to the next room while her unalived mother is laying there in her bedroom. They are in the next room and they decide to have sex. And then they go to the hotel and they make a sex tape, because that's what you do. Like you saw, they got caught quickly, both charged. Her boyfriend was sentenced to life in prison and Gypsy to 10 years. Now we know she got out of parole after just 8 years, and finding out more and more about the story from her interviews is just all very disturbing for everyone. It gets worse with every interview. We also found out that Nick is autistic. He had psychological issues and basically wasn't mentally okay when Gypsy asked him to commit this horrific crime. But on the other hand, apparently he always wanted to kill someone. She just gave him that chance. So there are people who say she shouldn't even have gone to prison. She is a victim who just tried to get out, break free from her abuser, and took drastic measures to do that. People say she should have been in therapy instead of prison. Looking at what's happening now the past 2 weeks, I might be agreeing with those people. Maybe a healthy dose of therapy would be more productive, would help more. She says she's in therapy now. So why do I bring up all these details? Because after Gypsy's initial positive welcome by the internet, she got almost 10 million followers on TikTok, 9 million on Instagram, all that overnight. She did all these interviews where she had to answer some uncomfortable questions. People started cooling off. There are two camps now. One saying that Gypsy has been through hell. She did what she had to do to break free, and she deserves the fame and all the amazing things that come her way. Second camp started being suspicious, claiming that Gypsy, while still a victim, grew up with Didi and learned how to manipulate others very well. They are against making murderers famous. They don't like the fact that Gypsy takes now ownership. She doesn't take ownership, actually, of her actions, saying that technically she is not the one who committed the act. So let's dissect it a little bit. Let's go through the weird, suspicious things that happened since Gypsy got out of prison. So while still in prison, Gypsy got married to Ryan Anderson, and the couple has been doing interviews together. When he got some negative comments on his Instagram picture, Gypsy commented, "Ryan, don't listen to the haters. I love you and you love me. We do not owe anyone anything. Our family is who matters. If you get likes and good comments, great. If you get hate, then whatever, because they don't matter. I love you. Besides, they jealous because you are rocking my world every night. Yeah, I said it. The D is fire. Happy wife, happy life."
Down, I'm on a high right now. I'm living my best life, and y'all can't take that from me.
And the D is
Fire!
And that's the struggle here, guys. Because in her interviews, the way she speaks, she really seems like an eloquent, mature young woman, very well spoken. And then she does this, which really shows she is immature. She doesn't know this is an inappropriate thing to say on social media or in any situation. And you can see this recurring theme. Everything is weirdly sexually charged. The relationship with Nick, having sex next door to her unalived mother, but let's move on. What really made people question her is this interview and the stuff she said. Take a listen.
You're a murderer.
Oh my God.
Like, she just flat out said it. It was a lady from the UK, and I'm kind of like, okay.
Oh.
And everybody in the room just like jumped up and was like ready to like, am
Fight.
I, fight or am I okay?
Yeah.
They were freaking out for me, and I'm like, no, guys, I got this. Like, it's something that I'm gonna have to address.
Yeah.
Because it's always in my comments. Like, why are we glorifying a murderer and this and that and the other? And I don't want to have to remind people every single time that I'm not the one that committed the act of the kill. So, I'm a part of it.
Right.
But in the state of Missouri, there's no such thing as accessory to murder. So technically,
they couldn't charge you.
me with accessory because that charge doesn't exist. So, I mean, had I been in another state, I would have been charged with accessory to commit murder.
Guys, I got this. I learned it. My PR team told me what to say in this case. And a lot of people got angry because it seems like she is trying to get out of the responsibility in the crime on technicalities. She says the only reason she was charged with second-degree murder is because her state didn't have the accessory to murder charge. Well, potato in this situation. Usually, someone who hires a hitman is blamed for the crime and for conspiring and orchestrating it. Someone said, the fact that there is no remorse. And the answer, she doesn't need to feel any remorse. Her mom got what was coming to her. Evil woman. Well, you guys tell me. Anyway, she also said this.
I don't associate myself as a murderer because if you think about it, yes, I had a part to play in it. I asked Nick for help. And how that conversation started was, he was saying that he would protect me from anyone. I said anyone. He said yes. I said even my mother. He said yes. And then the plan kind of formed from there. But he's the one that did the actual kill, not me. I can't kill anyone. That's why he's in trouble to begin with, because he's the one that did it. So when they say I'm a murderer, I don't identify as that.
So wait, now she's saying she didn't actually ask him. She just said she wants to be protected from someone. He said he would protect her from anyone. She says, even from my mom, And he goes, yes. And then kind of together they formed the plan. It was a common idea. They came up with it together. So you see, I don't know. It's like these technicalities she's relying on in the interviews. Doesn't really sit right with people. It made everyone go, hold on. What is she saying? Is she saying she is not responsible for it? It's all on Nick. She's really trying to trivialize her part in this crime, and that's why people started thinking of her as manipulative. Here are some comments. Charles Manson had the same argument. The gaslighting is real. And this one, girl, you got the weapon. And made a video showing him how to do it. Because we all agree, she is a victim. She went through hell in her younger life, and yes, sometimes these extreme conditions make us make extreme decisions. She did try to run away and it didn't work. She wasn't mentally or physically well. Her only role model was her mentally sick, manipulative mother. And we all want her to have a good life now, to move forward and experience life as it should be. There were comments from one of the prosecutors. I can honestly say I've rarely had a client who looks exceedingly better after doing a fairly long prison sentence. Prison is generally not a place where you become happy and healthy. And I say that because to me, that's kind of the evidence to the rest of the world as to just how bad what Gypsy was going through really was. Gypsy Blanchard later said it wasn't until her arrest that she realized how healthy she was, but it took time. So she actually felt more free in prison, guys, than in the house with her mother. And to be fair, she also said that she regrets her actions, that she wishes her mother was alive, but she did what she thought was her only option back then. Well, not only she sounds manipulative now, with the new things that come out, but also she could get into legal trouble because her shorter sentence and her parole are based on her admitting to guilt. She pled guilty. So now her going to media and saying, I wasn't the one who orchestrated it, I didn't do anything. I'm not a lawyer, of course, but this could be a problem. Anyway, right now we can clearly see that Gypsy is on a mission to get into celebrity world. Look at the recent tweet. Thanks Kim Kardashian, tagging Kim Kardashian, for the shout out within this list to my 2017 documentary HBO's Mommy, Dad and Dearest. Maybe we should unite forces together to make real change within the justice system. She goes straight to the toxic heart of Hollywood, Kardashian family. People began to comment, girl, you killed your mom, you're not the best role model. Okay, that's a bit cold. Oh boy, girl, glad you're out, but you need serious help. None of this is going to go well for you. Instead of focusing on the limelight, focus on yourself. Also, try to remember what you said one day and then the next. Some things are not adding up. I mean, stop tagging Kardashians. Stop trying to get in there. Just like the comment said, focus on yourself. Get yourself some help. Learn about life, how it really is. In the recent TikTok that she posted, she also says that all she wants to do is bring awareness to Munchausen syndrome. She's not trying to glorify murder, of course, and she's just living. We'll just have to see how things will evolve for her. It's a fascinating case, I'm not gonna lie. I wish Gypsy all the best. Everyone deserves a second chance in life, a way to redeem themselves, try and earn forgiveness. We also get older and grow, and that's what I wish for her. A normal life, a family, good healthy love and home, good support system. Do I think she will find it in Hollywood? Absolutely not. I don't think she is mentally strong enough to handle it. And I know we could argue here on that since she went through far worse things. But instead of fame and Hollywood, movies, interviews, I hope Gypsy will own up to her mistakes, to herself. She will make peace with what happened to her and that she will have a calm, healthy life. That's all we want. And when it comes to people who glorify her, stop. Just stop. America seems to be very good at making murderers, psychopaths, and other mentally unstable people famous over there. Next thing you know, youngsters will be trying to become influencers by unaliving someone. This is not healthy, this is not okay. You are the ones that rose Gypsy to the fame. You are the ones labeling her an influencer now. You are the ones demanding her interviews, her skincare routines, her shiny hair secrets. Just stop. That's all I can say right now. But By all means, let me know in the comments what you think. So apparently us Eastern Europeans have a bit of a different idea of what makes a person an a-hole. One day, as I was scrolling through Reddit, I went through a few stories in Am I the Asshole thread, and many times I was disagreeing with people commenting on those stories. So I'm bringing it here, together with my opinions. But don't worry, this segment of my podcast will be much more than that. It won't only be Reddit a-hole stories, it will be stuff I find in Facebook groups, yes, European ones too, or maybe you guys want your story, your dilemma featured here. Send it over. Any interesting post asking for advice or any opinion we'll be discussing in here. So today's question is, am I the asshole for commenting on my partner's lack of a hairline when he keeps making comments about my weight? Let's read the story. We had a daughter last year and I've put on about 30 pounds. Now, even though I've gained weight, I don't think I'm fat. My legs have just gotten thicker. Anyways, he keeps making comments saying that I haven't stopped eating since I've gotten pregnant. Yesterday, I was preparing a bottle for our daughter when he said, "Why don't you move out the way? You don't see you're big." He tried to play it off after and said he was just talking about my butt. It really hurt my feelings, so I said, at least a fat person can lose weight, but your hair is never growing back. For context, he's 27, but the front of his hair and the middle have been thinned out a lot. He's very self-conscious about it, to the point that he won't leave the house without a hat, and he'll turn back around if he realizes that he forgot to take it with him. He's been angry at me since I made the comment, but I felt like if he keeps talking about my weight, then I can talk about his hairline. So am I the asshole? And she did an edit, probably after a few comments, just to clarify. I see a lot of people in the comments asking if I gained the weight after the pregnancy. It was during the pregnancy. People are also saying I can control my weight and I should be going to the gym. I do work out when I have time. Finding time to go to the gym is very different for a father than it is for a mother. Yes, I know two wrongs don't make a right, and when I calmed down, I realized I should have handled it in a better way. Thanks for all the feedback. Well, I got something to say about that. I think you're not the asshole. Now, was it petty to point out his bald head, knowing it will hit him hard? Yes. But was it also justified, given you've been being bullied by him about your weight for a long time? Yes. Let's unpack it. Woman gains weight when she's pregnant. There will be a certain amount of weight that will accumulate on your body. It is needed, it is normal. The hips will widen, breasts will change, stomach will change, and a lot of women don't recognize themselves after giving birth to a child. Add to it a cocktail of hormones, and you got yourself a case of postpartum depression. You know what are the two most important things then for that woman? Supportive partner and her village. A lot of people tend to forget about caring for the mother once baby comes into this world. Mother should focus on caring for the baby, and the partner and her village, her family, the community, call it whatever, should be caring for her, should be helping her recover. And recovery doesn't mean losing weight, okay? It means helping her accept her new reality, helping her see the new kind of beauty in her, helping her when she needs to rest, when she needs a minute for herself. Having a little baby is crazy, okay? It turns the whole world upside down. This insane obsession with women having to bounce back immediately, having to be skinny minutes after giving birth is ridiculous. Her husband could have handled it much different, much better. How much better it would be if he just approached her and said, "Hey honey, you are always so busy. You get no time for yourself. You get no time to do anything. How about 3 times a week I'll stay with the baby for a few hours so you can go to the gym or some classes, get your healthy on. Then maybe shopping, whatever you want to do. Your body has been through so much. I really want to make sure you recover properly. And I want to help." Okay, I romanticized it a little bit. I know nobody speaks like that. I wish they did. But this can only come from truly loving and caring partner, okay? If you're an asshole, you will expect your woman to take care of the house, you, the kids, work full time, and then call her fat at the end of the day. This is not only an asshole behavior. This shows he is not intelligent. He is entitled and basically not a good husband. And I get a quiet satisfaction from her pointing out his bald head. My reaction to it might be harsh, but it is what it is. Some Reddit users wrote, "Not the asshole. He started it. You finished it. Don't apologize. His feelings are not more important than yours. He'll either realize how profoundly cruel he's been to his wife, the woman he's supposed to love, or he will double down. In which case, you should probably reconsider if you want to be married to a man who thinks he can routinely insult and demean you. And think long and hard about your daughter watching this dynamic, thinking that this is how she should be treated by her partner going forward." And this one, not the asshole, he shouldn't dish it out if he can't take it. But is this the kind of relationship you want? And that's a very valid question here. You can try one up each other, eye for an eye, but is that a good marriage? Is that partnership? Is it healthy? That's for her to decide, but I think the answer here is clear. On the other hand, just take care of yourself. Don't forget about your man's needs. This is important as well. So I know that this man in this situation is an asshole, but sometimes, yes, with a new baby, woman gets completely consumed by the new role, and unfortunately partner stays behind. So let's not forget about those good men who just want a little bit of attention, who still want to help, who want to be a part of the whole thing. And don't call their women fat, okay? Yeah, just wanted to say that. Thanks for watching and listening to the very first Daily Freddo podcast. I am so curious to know what you all think. Give me your feedback in the comments. Make sure to subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification to never miss any future videos. And for even more content, subscribe to my Patreon, link is in the description. That's all for today. Have a good one.
Oh man, well, dude, you're a weak man, dude. You're part of the problem. You